Hello and welcome back to another one of Paul's beer reviews, and this is the second of the Banks's beers that I'm going to be reviewing today. Last time I reviewed the Amber Bitter, horrendous, absolute piece of shit, don't buy that, awful. And now moving on to their Golden Beer, exactly the same artwork, only one is kind of yellowy gold and one isn't. So that's the Amber Bitter, and this is their exceptional Golden Beer. This one is also coming in at 3.8% ABV. Yeah, labelling is exactly the same. Although saying that, slightly different. So, let me just read what it says here. It says, pouring a shimmering pale gold, Banks's Golden Beer is clean, crisp and quenching, lightly bitter with delicate clementine oranges and luscious lemon citrus notes, delivering a Moorish ale for every occasion. Banks's Golden Beer. This one, it just says it's brewed and bottled by Marston's PLC. No mention of Carlsberg that it said on the last one. So the last one was brewed by, I'll get this up to the camera. The last one was brewed by, if you can see that, by Carlsberg Marston's. Is that focus? I'm not sure. That one's brewed by Carlsberg Marston's, which I didn't know was a thing. This one is simply brewed by Marston's. Yeah, 3.8% again. Bottle cap is exactly the same, and this one is a Golden Beer, 3.8% ABV. See how it goes, shall we? Surely it can't be as bad as the last one. Maybe it could. This one I picked up for £1 in Morrison's. So I paid $1.89 altogether for these two Banks's beers. $1.89. Considering this is a golden beer and the other one was simply described as an amber bitter, I mean, they're not far off one another in terms of colour. Loads of carbonation there, rising up the glass. It might be slightly lighter, slightly more in the way of a gold coloured brew. The head is hanging around on this one. That is a 2.5 finger solid, slightly foamy looking white head. It's sticking around, and the carbonation is good on it. Certainly lighter in colour. Let's get my snout in, see what the aroma's telling us. Oh, come on. Wow, there's nothing. The slightest, I do mean the slightest. Oh, I'm struggling to get it out again. Slightest bit of lemon, slightest bit of a citrus aroma to it. Jesus. There's nothing coming out. There's nothing coming out of that. Like, you get like the slightest hint of like a citrusy washing up liquid aroma. But within a second it's gone. It's like you have to give it a good shake to get any kind of life out of it. Oh, there's nothing coming off of that. The head is hanging around. It looks slightly more promising than the last one. Right, Banks's Golden Beer. Let's get stuck in. Cheers. There is a bit of orange there, a bit of lemon, but it tastes fake. Again, with the last one, the flavour that's in here tastes artificial. It tastes like something's been added. Flavour's been added. I'm not getting any hop character. I'm not getting any maltiness to it. Again, it's really thin. It's really watery. Light, thin, watery. There's less carbonation on this one than there was on the bitter. the slightest bit of citrus flavour. Again, there's a metallic-y flavour to it. And the bitterness again, the bitterness on the back end of this one is slightly unpleasant. I don't think it's as pronounced, the bitterness on this. Not as pronounced on this one as it was on the bitter. This is slightly more calm, slightly more balanced with the rest of the awful elements. The bitterness to this doesn't stand out as much as the bitter, which makes sense. There is nothing to write home about with this. The only taste that really jumps out is that weird chemically bitterness at the back end. There is a subtle orangey, citrusy. I mean, it says clementine on the back of the bottle. There is a citrusy flavour there that it's reminiscent to orange. Maybe it is clementine, but there's nothing legit gone into there. There's no clementine gone into that. There's no orange gone into that. It's flavourings, it's hop extract, it's bits and bobs. It doesn't even mention the hops that have gone into this one. At least with the bitter, it said that Fuggles and Goldings had gone into it, or extract, I'm assuming, had gone into it. This, they're not saying anything. I would assume maybe the same. A bit of hop extract has gone into it. It's so cheap. It's nasty. Really watery. Very little carbonation. Tiniest bit of a citrus sweetness to it. And there's that slightly unpleasant bitterness that comes in, takes over. And it's rank. It's got a horrible aftertaste. Disclaimer, I threw away the rest of the last one. I poured that down the sink. And I'll be honest, I think this one's going to end up in the same place. I've got no interest in finishing that, to be honest. I'll do one more swig for the video. Light, watery, tiniest bit of citrus flavour. And then bosh, here comes that weird bitterness that was in the bitter as well. And it's nasty. It's chemically. It's nasty. No, that's crap as well. Excuse me. The only thing I can say for this is that nasty bitterness isn't quite as pronounced as it is in the bitter. So I've basically paid 11 pence more for slightly harsh, horrible bitterness at the back end to it. Yeah, that's another shocker. That's another shocking beer. So I've done the two Banks beers, one after the other, and they're both crap. Both absolutely awful. Yes, it's cheap. So you could say, yeah, you shouldn't expect a lot. But at the same time, it'd just be nice for them to kind of take a little bit of pride in what they're doing, you know? I don't know. I just think it's cheap, it's crap. Minimal effort has gone into the brewing of it. The fact that Marston's own it, yeah, they've only got their name in small print on the back, I think probably tells you what you need to know. They're not fussed with it. If you like this stuff, let me know. Let me know in the comments below if you drink this stuff on a regular basis. Someone's buying it. Someone's buying it. Someone's drinking it, because it seems to be in a lot of the supermarkets, the Banks's beers. That one in particular is in lots of them. So like I say, someone's buying it. There's obviously a market for it. But it's baffling because they are literally two of the worst beers I've had in a very, very long time. A very long time. I'm you know, despite the cheap price of them, I'm really disappointed. I expected something. They're both very cheaply made, like obviously so, to the point where it's unpleasant. They're unpleasant how cheap the ingredients that have been used to make it. It's an unpleasant flavour. They're just awful. They're just not good. I'm going to give that one a 1.5 because the bitterness isn't as you know, harsh as it was on the other one. And when I mean bitterness, I don't mean like a harsh bitterness. I mean an unpleasant bitterness, like a chemically bitter flavour. Horrific. 1.5 for this one. I hope you've enjoyed these reviews. Give it a thumbs up if you have. I do appreciate that. Until my next one, you take care.